nachos, amigos, and welcome to Record Breakers, a music podcast where a group of friends gather together to share music with each other. It's like a little book club for music. I'm PD Rave, and I'm not the fresh maker, but I'm the trash maker more so, really, honestly, or the poop. I'm the fart maker. That's really what I am. Yeah, I'm the fart maker. Here with me is my team, my squad, my crew, my quorum. We've got David.
I will never forgive LMFAO for party rocking.
We've got Drew.
Talking about Mentos, I can't believe you're selling out, Petey.
Uh-huh. Yes. And of course we've got Brett.
I'm just thinking of Peter Fartmacher, the like equivalent podcaster that's hanging out in Deutschland talking about their least favorite Scorpions albums.
Yes. We're here to discuss an album. We're here to.
Should I bring the Scorpions sometime?
I mean, I've almost brought it like several times. There's some gold in them.
There's some good.
Yeah.
There's some good.
There is.
What about Wasp?
I mean, I've always wanted to have a band called Scorpions, spelled with a K, like they do in Germany, where I only do Scorpion songs with people who are native English speakers that are kind of phonetically doing German to do like the counterpoint to it. But also, Scorpions are good, so that puts me out of the job.
Petey, what album are we talking about?
Well, we're talking about an album provided by Brett. Brett, what have you got for us this week?
Here I am, rocking you guys like I do sometimes. I'm bringing the album from 1995, Foo Fighters, from Foo Fighters, a song that an album that it's from that guy who played drums for that Nirvana band.
Yeah. Let's talk about expectations coming into this album. David, what were your expectations coming into this album?
It's Dave Grohl's first album. I expected it to be some pretty quality, above average American rock, which the Foo Fighters are. And some pretty solid to above average drumming, and Dave Grohl doing some multi-tracking and getting some things out of his system, because this album did come out in 1995, so you can imagine Dave Grohl needed to get some things out of his system.
NHL Live 95 was a fantastic game.
Yeah. A lot had happened before this album had made its way out to the world, and Mr. Grohl had used this album for therapeutic, cathartic reasons, and you hear that on this album. And there's some pretty solid, I wouldn't say by the numbers, but pretty kind of standard fare, above average American rock from the 90s.
We'll get into it shortly. Drew, what were your expectations coming into this album?
Well, I'm familiar with the Foo Fighters.
Well, wait, hold on. In 1995, what was Drew up to?
I don't remember offhand.
Okay.
Because it was 95.
I was watching wrestling and playing fighting games.
I was 7.
Okay,
what
there
era
we go.
of wrestling is that?
That
would have been New Generation World Wrestling Federation.
Yeah.
Very early Monday Night Wars, not quite.
Yeah,
not
kind of.
There, yeah. It was the tail end of Sting still being blonde.
Okay, I was going to say, because I think I got into wrestling right as it was no longer Hunter Hearst Helmsley and Sting was no longer blonde. Like, right, that transition was right as I was getting into it.
Okay.
So I was not watching wrestling. I was probably playing Battletoads, getting to that race car level, dying, and then playing it again. Because that level.
So that's some context. So yeah,
Yeah.
you like that matters a little bit.
Battle Arena Toshinden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as you were saying, Drew.
Yes, I derailed you trying to figure out how old you were in '95 because I can never remember how much younger you are than me.
7. I think 7. I think that tracks.
So did you meet Foo Fighters before you met Nirvana?
No, I knew Nirvana first.
Okay.
Yeah.
My taste in which band I think is better might not reflect that, but
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know if you guys
I have a
can
hot
say
take.
your expectations.
But is it really that hot, though? Is it
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Is it really?
Brett,
Okay.
what were your expectations coming into this album? I mean, no,
Yes.
what were your expectations picking this album?
I'm
Well,
a
I mean,
little, I'm a little tough. I may have had some
that's
Claritin
fine.
earlier
Go for it.
today, so I'm a little like allergy ridden. Brett, well, I will say my expectations. I was curious to go back to this album because I knew some of the songs. I think I'm more familiar with more songs of later albums, like the second album and forward. But this one is definitely at least the first chunk of it is very familiar to a lot of people. And I've sung a couple of these songs in karaoke quite a few times, so it was gonna be nice. And I was curious to like sit down and actually consume it as an album. Brett, how would you describe this album musically?
Well, I also probably had a pretty similar experience to you, PD, even though I owned this on cassette tape. It's been literal decades since I've listened to this album. So like there was stuff that I forgot about that was in this album, but like literally half of this album like was released on singles. So like you've heard a lot of this. It got a heavy play on radio if you were around at the time, but it is definitely mid 90s. This is probably as close as post-grunge as you can get because like the tones that you hear, there are things that sound very much like that mid decade like college alt rock grunge radio type stuff when people were like kind of figuring out like the Blue Album. They're kind of figuring out like, you know, what to do beyond just the tone, and like it's not just the big bands anymore. And we're starting to get into, let's say, the more metal-y sounding tones. There's some drop D that hangs out on this album that I didn't remember. So there's some of that, but like tone wise, this is smack dab. Like there are a couple tones that I heard that I was like, that is just the straight up the grunge music sound. But like it's a one-man act, so like musically, you know, if you were to look at something like to be like, oh, where's the weak point of this album, because it is one guy, he's doing everything. Vocals are probably not as strong as they will be in Dave's career going forward, but you know, you get the whole Grohl. So you get like the fun drums, you get the like simple songwriting, and you get some vocals that are subpar, which is not a problem. See all of Van Halen until Sammy Hagar showed up. It worked out for them, and it's all about having fun. And also, this is an album that does things that you would not expect that drummer from Nirvana to do as his next job. So
yeah. David, how would you describe this album musically?
Post-grunge in the most literal sense possible. It is about as close to grunge as possible for obvious reasons, while also being the most immediate album that follows what grunge was. You can hear Dave Grohl wanting to do things that did not sound like Nirvana on this album and allowing his other influences to come in. You hear that he clearly likes punk, and you even hear a little bit of his metal side that you get later in his career. While also you get to see that this was made by one dude, and those don't happen, especially in rock, very often. It was one dude, one vision, and you hear him just pouring everything into this. You hear that on later albums, but you definitely hear it here.
Yeah.
Where it is just him just giving 110%.
It's so good, he refused joining Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers to do this.
In a way, yeah. Drew, how would you describe this album musically?
One that I don't think can be understated. This album happened because Dave Grohl willed it into existence. That is,
or he willed himself, basically.
Yeah, he's like, "Nah, I'm gonna make this record." Like, no, like we're getting this done.
No, me.
Like,
shut up, me.
We're going.
We're doing this.
Right. And it is. You have the tone of what like that like late era of grunge was. But in my opinion, better composition, more thought out composition on a lot of it. I think the bass work was actually really fun on this record, which is weird to say. From rhythm section, I guess that's sort of to be expected to a certain degree. And Dave Grohl's not the best singer. Like, you're not gonna put him out like in anything but rock and roll, right? He's not. You're not looking for, hey, Dave Grohl's going into R&B. But I think that the singing here is something phenomenal for the time, for what he's going for. And there's a sneer to a lot of this record. There's anger and sadness and regret to some of this record. Working through is a good idea to put it through, but it's when somebody has something to say and they are going to put it out there come hell or high water, this happens.
Well, I've got something to say.
I killed your baby today.
Yeah, that was shout out to Drew's girlfriend.
Hey, Glenn Danzig summoned oh shit.
Shout out to Drew's girlfriend.
And shout out to Glenn Danzig and also Zandig.
Yes.
Yeah, so they're a package deal.
Yes. Glenn Zandig. I still love that Photoshop. I don't even know if I did that Photoshop or somebody else did that.
We have fun around these parts.
Yes. Foo Fighters. This album,
the Foo Fighters.
This album was it was interesting, kind of going back and like looking up information on this album. I mean, by looking up, I mean looking at the Wikipedia. And looking up a couple things, especially on Genius. A lot of this was songs that Dave just had been working on for several years, and like was just doing stuff while he was with Nirvana, and just making songs. One of these I looked up, at least according to Genius, according to the listings on Genius, was one that he actually played for Kurt Cobain, and he was like, I don't have to. Kurt hugged him. Was like, I don't have to do this. I'll be the only songwriter in this band. It's like, no. You're still the songwriter. I just wanted to show you my stuff. It's like, and then they had like actually played like a version of it during some set lists on during shows. I think I'll have to look it up again to mention it during the songs because I don't remember it off the top of my head. I know I looked it up on Genius.
I read that, but I forget which song it was too.
Yeah, but I'll double back on that in a moment. But a lot of the there are some things where he has things to say, even though some of the lyrics were off the dome. Actually, technically, according to Tale, for a few of the songs, according to
he was spitting.
He was spitting off the dome. He was literally like he would come up with songs like he was at the booth with
find the booth
with the with the producer just yelling at him like, dude, like we had to
run the track.
Give me I need a click track. Give me a click track.
Yeah, just but it is super tight and fun and well made, and you can see like it's the like the emotional mental dump, because like this is stuff they had waiting around, and this is what he needed to do, because he refused to go to Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers and I think one other band because he just didn't want to make music.
Run it down a dream.
He was like just not in an emotional place to make music, like so he just like he couldn't, and then at some point he like agreed to perform with the band, and it's like, okay, let me just make this album as like a thing, and just get this out and just like get through this, and and it ended up being a super fun, tight set of like exemplary post-grunge songs that laid the groundwork for a really fantastic band that grew into something even more. So like yeah, some good stuff. Let's talk about some of the tracks. Let's talk about key tracks. Brett, what would be some of the key tracks to zero in on?
Well, this is a call. Hey, a drummer wrote this entire album. So the drummer got to decide, hey, do I want to do these cool drum fills? Okay, I'll let myself do them here. And there was a lot of that. I enjoyed the drums. It wasn't just cool drum fills. It was well above replacement level, like catchy, like not exactly short music, because this is getting around the 4-minute mark, but
a couple
tight.
of songs were either like I think at least one song was at least 5.
I mean, but there were also songs on here that were very much the tight package, like you would expect from somebody who had made a bunch of songs that played on the radio. Also, that kind of has that songwriting hook to keep a tight package. Also, it's kind of the genre. I'll stick around. Featured in a very important to me video scene segment of Beavis and Butthead. It is a magical thing that you can't legally find on anywhere. But Beavis and Butthead and Nirvana, like I had known, I don't think I owned a Nirvana album by the time I had just picked it up by the time that no, the Beavis and Butthead thing was in '97, so I'm wrong. But yeah, one of my I am forever tied to that song with Beavis and Butthead, and it's and ice cream trucks. Big Me. As we go make this about me some more, I remember seeing people play this music live and throwing Mentos in a crowd at a park around the time this album came out, and
Dave Grohl was like, "Yeah, no, we're not doing that song anymore."
Yeah, and like that got played on the radio and on MTV, that music video, so much. But that is very much not a song that you would expect from the drummer for Nirvana to be coming up with. But okay, good grief. It's kind of a harder and strummier Smith song at times. And like it's got that thing going on, but but not the jangle. Floaty. Hey, this album came after Weezer's Blue album. And I did not expect there to be such a Weezery sound. And Ecstatic I wanted to touch on, because that is probably the most like strong post-grunge college alt-rock feel that I have felt in a long time. It's like a band that you forget the name of, but you heard them once. They were featured on like yes, Matt Pinfield told you in the middle of the night that it was cool. Yeah. But yeah,
They were
like,
on a 7-inch. I
Yes.
know that reference.
Yes. David, what would be some of the key tracks for you?
Ecstatic. I wrote this one in my notes as it is almost an Alice in Chains song, which is about as grungy as this album gets. It was almost Alice in Chains, but not quite. I would also say Weenie Beanie. This was Dave Grohl saying, "Yeah, I'm done with the grunge. I'm gonna do something with a little more chugga chugga." And this song has some chugga chugga, and it's kind of cool. The hook on Good Grief. It was kind of nasally, head voicey, and it kind of, for a split second, reminded me of the hook in More Human Than Human from White Zombie, which was kind of in that same time frame. If you listen to that song and you listen to Dave singing on this song, it's kind of the same nasally kind of head voice, and it's there. Trust me on that. I'm not crazy. Well, and I'll stick around in Big Me, the radio songs. Yeah. But also, I don't think Dave Grohl likes Courtney Love very much.
No.
They may have had some issues. They may have had some of a falling out.
There was some heat, brother.
Yeah, there's some nuclear heat. Drew,
Half of the rock industry in that era had heat with Courtney Love. Let's be fair about this. Courtney Love didn't have many friends.
Yeah.
I don't know. That one album came out in like 2000 and was successful. So
yeah. Drew, what would be the key tracks for you?
Well, like Brad said, starting off with this is a call, and saying, "Hey, I'm Dave Grohl. I do the thing. This is my album. Shove It" was kind of cool. I'll stick around. Best song about a very particular person that I can think of. It's a sneer at a lot of things. Some alleged that Courtney may have been a part of. For legal reasons, I'm not saying whether I believe that or not. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Dave has,
Your Honor.
maybe more than just the money he's mad at, but allegedly. Big Me. Big Me is like... Big Me is one of those songs when I think of the Foo Fighters, like, Big Me got played. And it got played for decent reason, in my opinion. I think it's a really great song. It's an easy song to put on the radio. The one that, going back, like, I go, oh yeah, right, like, the roots of grunge are in punk rock, is Watershed. It's a punk rock song with grunge tone, like, to be fair about that. And it's really good at being that. So.
Yeah. We highlight the songs that the hits. I'll stick around. I'll stick around is one of the best now admitted diss tracks. That
finally, like we didn't all know.
Yeah.
He was mad.
He was big mad. And it's pretty fantastic. Also, Big Me is a nice, fun ballad. And of course, a great commercial for Futos, the fresh fighter, which is fantastic. And Alone plus Easy Target was that song. I looked it up. It wasn't on Genius that I found that out. It was on Wikipedia, which is they credit an article, I believe, an interview in Mojo. That where Dave Grohl talked about how he had played the song for Kurt Cobain while he was sitting in a bathtub, and
like you
had
do.
told him like you do, and when he had because he had heard he was recording stuff while they were on break between touring, It's like he took off the headphones and kissed me and said, "Oh, finally, now I don't have to be the only songwriter in the band." I said, No. I think we're doing just fine with your songs." This is basically just like no, this is my song. No, this is my song. Like, Nirvana's your thing. If this exists in any capacity, it's my song. But it's fun. Yeah, and things like Weenie Beanie. Naming a song after a now almost non-existent fast food chain. Just meet me up at the local Weenie Beanie. Have a dog.
I mean, I come from a place where I hear sucking on a chili dog outside of Tasty Freeze, and I'm like, where's the nearest Tasty Freeze in my state?
Yeah. They predominantly, by the way, Weenie Beanie predominantly sells half smokes, hot dogs, pulled pork sandwiches, and soft drinks.
You got me at half smoke. If you have not had a half smoke, go have a half smoke. I got to get this correctly.
According to Wikipedia, half smoke is a local sausage delicacy found in Washington, D.C.
For those of us that have been to Washington, D.C.,
similar to hot dogs, but usually larger, spicier, and with more coarsely ground meat. The sausage is often half pork and half beef, smoked and served with herbs, onions, and chili sauce.
Yes, I had mine in like a giant pig in a blanket, and I got it at a Nationals game, like in 2014, and it changed my life forever.
They're damn.
So if you're ever watching baseball, when they allow you to go watch it, and you're in Washington D.C.,
if you're in D.C. in general,
you got nothing better to do.
D.C., get one.
Go watch it. Go look in the gift shop at the Air and Space Museum and see the Enterprise, and go eat a half smoke.
Yes. Fantastic.
Anybody from DC, tell us where to get the best half smoke. Please write.
Well, they're like Coney dogs in Detroit. You can pretty much get them every square mile.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I also figure it's like a cheesesteak in Philly. People have their allegiances.
Yes.
I mean, this is just leading me down the path of mumbo sauce and like we just
tenderloins.
I know.
Here at Record Breakers,
I know. I have my Coney dog of choice. That is true.
Record Breakers, drive-ins, and dives.
Yes, I mean, I can tell you,
the Opera Cove.
Where's your Cuban, Petey?
I don't know about Cuban. I know that good Cuban pizza. There's a couple places you go to. I haven't decided on a particular one that I would say would be like the one. But there's a couple places you can get Cuban pizza, which is really nice. But that being said, let's bring it back around the horn. Talk about some conclusive thoughts on this album. David, what would be your conclusive thoughts on this album?
It is rare for a debut album, especially for a rock act, to be this solid and well put together. But I imagine that it was because it was of one singular mind and not a group. Dave Grohl was a man with a vision, with a lot to get off his chest and out of his system. But it works here. It really works. I have always said that the Foo Fighters are kind of the standard for American rock music. I think that with rock music in the last 20 years, it's kind of a low floor but a high ceiling. And I think that the Foo Fighters are in the higher end of tiers when it comes to that. And you can see that even on this first album, and they got better and better. I think you can see even on this album, Dave Grohl is highly skilled, and that really shines through at songwriting, at making rock songs that people can pay attention to. And you see that even on his debut.
Drew, what will be your conclusion on this album?
I'm usually not the to listen to music easily on the radio, and that's not like a personal vendetta against radio music. It's just my tastes don't usually line up with radio music. There's not a huge jazz station in Ohio. Ska
That's not
isn't
true.
being
You
played
need to
all the time.
switch to that AM band, and they got what you need. You're full of
Fair.
shit. You can find jazz if you need jazz.
Yeah.
It'll sound like shit. But you
Fair.
can find it.
So FM radio music.
That's right.
So the Foo Fighters are one of those bands that David said it right. They're one of those bands that sort of transcend. There's
One more
bands that
thing.
are timeless.
Sorry, Drew. One more thing.
Go on.
Great about the Foo Fighters. They gave Taylor Hawkins a forever home. And that's great.
Yeah.
Because Taylor Hawkins is awesome.
Yeah. He is awesome. I will agree with that. But it's something where Dave Grohl's songwriting
wrestled the Hardy Boys and the Dudley Boys in TLC. It was just one of the high points of my wrestling training. Sorry.
Yeah, he got a little bit of sex in Hardcastle going on, don't he?
God damn it.
This album
I knew
reeks of
exactly
awesomeness.
you were there.
I would have gone for a Joe Dirt joke myself, but I don't know your wrestling.
Yeah.
That was a weird cut to make, but I'm here for it. So that's the thing with the Foo Fighters, though, and Dave Grohl in general, is that his songwriting is just phenomenal. And the sound, in my opinion, is, yes, it is a sign of the times, some of the tone, but it's something that set the tone for a lot of rock music, pun intended, for a long time. It's something that's just absolutely phenomenal. And if you haven't heard the Foo Fighters by now, what rock are you living under? But also go, whether it be this record or another one, do it. It's phenomenal music, and it's an easy listen.
Yeah, this is a fun listen, a fun swing back to the early days of Foo Fighters. It is fantastic for everything that came after it. Obviously, bringing in Taylor Hawkins, bringing in Pat Smear, the long time
the everybody's
fourth Nirvana
favorite germ.
The longtime fourth Nirvana member.
The guitar player for Nirvana, that was good.
Yeah. The guy
he was there sometimes.
Yeah.
They needed a singer in Nirvana that was good.
Yeah.
No, they needed a lyricist. They had the grooves down.
Yes. Side note, I can get jazz on my FM radio. I just have to go all the way to 88.9 for the public WDNA.
88.9 in my neck of the woods is 88.9 WSTB, the alternation.
Oh yeah,
that sounds like jazz to me.
Do we even have rock?
Alternative.
The alternative to
the
rock.
Alternative station here, 88.7 89X, just changed the country about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
After 30 years.
In Michigan?
Yeah.
Into the Motor City.
Yeah.
Well, they were in even weirder. They were in Windsor.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, don't forget
on the other side of the water.
This
Detroit also birthed Kid Rock.
Yeah.
When Kid Rock was in Detroit, he was still trying to do rap music.
Yeah. 89X.
He was trying to do that long after.
Yeah.
So the Insane Clown Posse left Michigan too.
89X played them first too.
This would have been about the time that I met the Clown Posse.
If Insane Clown Posse did a country record, that would be the funniest thing on the planet to me.
No!
Hey, we get a live studio audience.
3 words.
Put from the
Big Money Rustlers.
Hey, I'm a fan of Sugar Wolf. And the way that he can slap people through prison bars is a good time.
Tell her I said that.
That movie's terrible.
Tell her I said that. 3 words. Big Money Rustlers.
That film is pretty great. That'd be
I don't
bad.
think we want to get Drew killed. Fuck, I don't have.
It was an
I have
asylum film, I believe.
I don't have an alternative
Congratulations,
station
you're on
here.
an episode of Record
Oh wait,
Breakers.
do? We have WSFS? What the hell is WSFS? All right, while I figure out what the hell the WSFS the shark is, 105.4.
That sounds like a fucking radio station.
I had never heard of it before. It's 104.3 the shark. I guess it's new. I go to the well, this one, no, it's big 105.9.
Nobody gets that reference anymore.
Yes, I still love that. It's like 105.9 the cat. I was like, I still love the fact that it's 105.9 because of big 105.9, which is a station here in Miami. Because Justin. Meanwhile, Foo Fighters, fantastic, great career. This awesome album is a really great peek into Dave Grohl's thought process and emotional process, over the years, and in particularly in those moments when he was trying to put down lyrics for his album because it was booth time and he had to sing something.
And it was not times like that.
Yeah. Yes. Brett, what would be your conclusion on this album as a whole?
I mean, just trying to put myself in the shoes of somebody who, put myself as somebody walking around in 1995 to grab this cassette tape with Sam Goody and popped it into their Buick Regal and listened to it, thinking that they were going to get more of the same from
How do you produce all of that context?
And you're trying to listen to the new album from the Nirvana guy. This is a departure, and it's kind of cool because this could not have happened. This could easily have not happened. And Dave Grohl, I would not see adorable videos of Geddy Lee's mom and Dave Grohl's mom hanging out backstage at Rush concerts and where Dave Grohl shows up, or vice versa. I think it worked that way too. Dave Grohl has become an American institution, and I'm not upset with that because they're I don't know. He seems like not a terrible person in 2020. I'm not placing any bets right now because I don't want to get let down anymore. But he seems like a pretty okay guy, and the fact that this is just his bag of. I got all these songs. Yeah. Let me do something with it because I can. It's kind of neat. It's a lot different than where it went, but man, you can see that some of these things sound like they've been hanging around in the earlier 90s. And it's kind of neat. I've forgot about so much of this.
Yeah. Speaking of the early 90s, the first face that would greet me on the website for 1043 The Shark at 1043theshark.radio.com is Gavin Rosdale, apparently.
Yep.
Because they had a check-in with him. Also, they
1996 as fuck.
84 and 96. Also, the 1043 The Shark apparently has the 2-minute promise, which is only 2 minutes of commercials at a time, which is fantastic. Also,
you know how much time a Spotify account has between songs?
Yes.
Exactly.
Also, they have headlines on Billie Eilish and an artist by the name of Youngblood, who I've never heard of, who's apparently an alternative artist. And they have a article on Foo Fighters taking a hilarious look at old images for their 25th anniversary.
Oh, that's when Dave Grohl used to shave. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
Charles Barkley was there.
Fantastic. Yeah. Those are our thoughts on Foo Fighters. Not
bad for a drummer.
Yes. Not bad. Let's get to the main event of the evening. Let's get to the moment we've all been waiting for.
Let's look at our notes.
Let's get down to the nitty gritty. Haikumuro numero uno. David, what is your haiku?
I don't have to go first. Okay. Pretty strong debut. Showed his talents right away. High-end 90s rock.
Drew, what is your haiku?
Dave is always good. Haven't heard a bad album. Always will listen.
My haiku. Dave lets it all out with the songs he held on to. Start of a great run. Brett, what is your haiku?
The guy from that band, second act of his career, I think it worked out.
Yeah, those are our thoughts on Foo Fighters.
Foo Fighters.
Foo Fighters. Foo Fighters.
Perfect.
Yes.
Japan.
God damn it.
Thailand.
Brazil.
Tiger. USSR.
Foo Fighters, the first one. Unlike the first Street Fighter, the first Foo Fighters is actually enjoyable.
First Street Fighter was.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Wasn't very good at all.
No. The 14 Street Fighter 2s and 17 Street Fighter 3s were fantastic. Those are our thoughts on Foo Fighters. You can find it on yes. Foo Fighters. You can find it on our Spotify playlist. Play Record Breakers the home game. Do your due diligence and your due diligence. Do your homework. On the Spotify playlist would be next week's record, and it's going to be provided by Drew. Drew, what have you got for us next week?
Well, I think I said this last time I brought an album, and that living with the girlfriend that decided to comment on ICP about 5 minutes ago. And how
Money
much
Rustlers.
Oh, God.
and Big Money Hustlers. But because of that,
No,
been listening.
Rustlers.
Yeah.
The sequel.
Cowboy movie makes it all so much better.
Country.
Trust me.
Country.
I specialize in these kinds of things.
Yes.
Thank you. But because of that, listening to music that when I was a kid, and it was more around, I was too busy hating on it because it had ruined the music that I liked to listen to and overtook it with these eyeliner assholes that I didn't care about. But she very much enjoyed it, so I've had a lot of it to listen to lately. So we went concept. We're going to go concept. It's My Chemical Romance with Danger Days, The True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys.
Mm-hmm. MCR, as some would like to call them.
Do I need to wear makeup?
Do I need a skinny tie? And skinny pants?
That'd be fun to...
Gentlemen,
Or
we're
the-
in our 30s. We're not wearing
And my
makeup.
crotch needs to hang way
One of
lower
the
than
dudes
I
had
can
like
ride a motorcycle while
huge,
wearing.
like curly, like Jufro looking thing.
Yes.
I don't remember which band member that was.
We'll have to look that up. The answers to that question
I could probably
and more,
turn around and ask.
I've got
Yeah.
all kinds of questions
The
the
already
answers to
lined
that
up.
question and more will
On
be
the next
answered-
exciting
Yes.
episode
She knew exactly
of
what I was talking
Record
about.
Breakers Z.
I
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
found that image I used to make that work. You can first. We're going to find out that and many more next week. But that'll be next week, and this is this week. And you can, of course, find us all over the internet. David is at Call Me DJM. Drew is at Extrusive for X. Brett is at HibbityBibbard, HIBBITYBIBBARD. I'm at Petey Rave. You know, all the letters are in there.
It's right there.
You can decipher it.
You can find us.
I'm at Petey Rave. The show's at 4 Record Breakers. That's the number 4 Record Breakers. Record Breakers Podcast at gmail.com, recordbreakerspodcast.com, rebelly.net for this and other shows, Rebelly TV on YouTube and on Twitch. You can hang out with us streaming live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday on Twitch.
See my background.
Yes. We do Through the Tomes, some Dungeons and Dragons on Tuesdays. We do Record Breakers on Wednesdays. We do space trucking on Thursdays. We do the No Man's Ski. So it's really fun times. Really fun times over at Rebellion.
I've got a
Rebellion
fleet.
TV. Yes.
I've got a fleet.
We found a freaking freighter. He was given a freighter.
Yes,
So now
I got a space truck.
Yes.
I can do long hauls.
Yeah, so he's gonna be the Jerry Reed of.
I need a space basset hound, a Dankosaur basset hound equivalent.
Daisy's gonna be Smokey, and the Dankosaur will be the frog. And I don't know what I'll be. I'll be the other the
You'll
guy
be the
with
beer in the back of the
Yes.
freighter.
Yes, I'll be the.
We're
be the
taking from
Budweiser.
space Arkansas.
I'll be the Coors Light. The Coors. Yeah, they are thirsty in Atlanta though, and we're about to wrap it up. So follow us there.
No, never.
Follow us.
Are you
follow us-
sure?
You never know. Follow us everywhere you find podcasts.
You
Like,
never
share,
know.
subscribe, do all the things. Until next time, hasta los huevos.
Toodaloo.
Hasta mañana. Don't get any on ya.
Entree booze, all of yous.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.